Tradition 8 for groups. Hello again. I'm an addict and my name is Bill. Welcome back to our NA Tradition study for groups. Our 8th tradition says, Narcotics Anonymous should remain forever non-professional, but our service centers may employ special workers. Tradition 8 offers further understanding of how we create an atmosphere of recovery. The NA group is the first experience most of us have with the principle of anonymity in action, and our atmosphere of recovery depends on that anonymity. Our commitment ensures that we come to each other as equals, that we treat each other as peers, and that we don't mistake one or more members as authorities on NA recovery. Being non-professional is one of the keys to freedom in Narcotics Anonymous. Because we are not engaged with the work of professionals, we are free from the pressure to perform by the guidelines and standards they use. And we are free from the theories and clinical models that shape or determine their work with addicts. The NA message is a key to freedom, and we carry it just by telling the truth about our own lives. Our groups don't hire professionals to moderate, facilitate, supervise, or lecture in our recovery meetings. We don't pay people to carry our message for us. The message is ours alone to carry. What we share freely with one another is priceless. There is no certification we could offer, no credential we could seek, that would make one addict better suited to reach another. Everything we do is summarized in the vision of the addict, with 2 days telling the addict with 1 day that it works. The experience we share, the steps we work, the late-night calls all serve to remind us that one addict helping another is without parallel. Part of creating an atmosphere of anonymity in our meetings involves creating meeting formats that help demonstrate our equality. Many groups structure their meetings in ways that discourage crosstalk or other scenarios that could easily lead us to give advice rather than share our experience. Even when groups have a speaker or two share for the entire allotted meeting time, it's clear that these members are not authorities on NA, but simply members sharing their own recovery. Some groups experience situations in which one or two charismatic or influential members may begin to seem like authority figures, even without intending to do so themselves. Quote, "There was a couple who pretty much ran the meeting when I first started attending," one member shared. Quote, "The way everyone seemed to go to them for answers, it took me a while to realize they weren't the NA counselors." When groups find ways to encourage equal participation, we avoid giving newcomers the wrong impression. Experienced group members aren't the only ones who may be mistaken for authority figures. When members who are professionals are allowed to leave those identities at the door, they have the chance both to freely share recovery, not expertise, and to hear life-saving wisdom from people they might not listen to in their ordinary lives. When members who are not professionals see that qualifications in the outside world don't matter in NA, it sends the message that NA is a place where wisdom, experience, empathy, and humanity are valued more than anything else. Our non-professional status frees us in many ways. We learn to show up, keep our commitments, and solve our differences. We learn how to learn. We don't need to worry whether we're good enough. We simply share our experience. NA can do what it does best, and each of us can do what needs to be done. If we are honest, open-minded, and willing to ask for help, we can rise to any challenge. Like so many things in recovery, what matters is that we show up and do the work to the best of our ability. The rest has a way of working itself out. It's a funny thing to say, but in this anonymous fellowship, all we have is our name. We come in without titles or associations and come to know each other through our words and actions. Everything else that seems to matter outside of Narcotics Anonymous doesn't matter inside. Not only are we equal in membership, quote, regardless of age, race, sexual identity, creed, religion, or lack of religion, end quote, but also regardless of social class, education, career, or credentials. Our bond as fellows begins and ends at one thing. We are addicts with a desire to stop using. We come to NA and we bring our suffering with us. None of us arrives to NA at our best, but each of us finds that we have more to offer the world than we had ever imagined. Group inventory questions. These questions offer you a way to begin or continue your group inventory or discussion focused on this tradition. You may provide your answer in the comments section below, or study together with your group and write them on paper. I hope by now you have your own copy of the guiding principles. I won't be including the questions in the next tradition study. 1. What do we mean by non-professional? Or how does this matter to our group? 2. Do people at our meeting give advice or feedback in response to what other addicts share? Or do members focus on sharing their own experience? 3. If we sign court cards or otherwise verify attendance, how do we do so in a way that allows us to remain non-professional and non-affiliated? 4. What are some strategies we can use to ensure that addicts feel safe sharing and a clear message is carried? How does our non-professional approach meet common challenges like a strong treatment presence, a lot of newcomers, or professionals attending with their clients? 5. How does our group respond when professionals, students, or others come to observe our meeting? 6. How does this tradition help us understand anonymity? How does anonymity help us understand this tradition? How do we practice anonymity in terms of this tradition? 7. Discuss any bridges between this tradition and other traditions. What do these bridges teach us about our group? 8. What more can we do to bring the principles of this tradition into our group efforts? What could we do differently to better fulfill our primary purpose? A brief summary and commentary to our 8th tradition. This tradition emphasizes that Narcotics Anonymous remains non-professional, ensuring equality among members and fostering an atmosphere of recovery. That should be a breath of fresh air to our members who work in treatment outside of NA. We don't enter the room and share with any performance expectation based on what we do outside of the rooms. Although many will add the details of outside professions to what they share, few of our members would do well to know that it really doesn't add value to the atmosphere of recovery, especially when we try to counsel or advise other members. I heard an addict share in a meeting, quote, "My best advice might kill another member," end quote. I am really glad that our tradition guides us in the NA program. I've seen things really come unraveled in fellowships not associated with NA because they had no traditions. Anonymity is crucial, allowing members to share experiences without the influence of professional credentials. NA groups do not hire professionals to facilitate meetings. This further reinforces the idea that every member, regardless of background or status, has valuable lived experience. This non-professional stance helps minimize external pressures and empowers individuals to share authentically. To maintain an atmosphere of recovery, groups absolutely must focus on personal sharing rather than giving advice. By treating everyone as equals, NA reinforces its primary purpose, which is to carry the message to the suffering addict, find a new way to live, and loose the desire to use. Through working the 12 steps and sharing our strengths, experiences, and hopes through a community of other addicts without external authority. Keep coming back. I thank you for listening and for taking part in this study group.